My name is Marina Kuchar, and I am an American citizen and live in the United States for 22 years. I am a Ukrainian immigrant. I'm asking anybody who's watching this video, please repost, and encourage you also to create your own videos against the war. I am saying no to this war, and I'm calling to President of the United States, Mr. Biden, as well as the leaders of the United Nations and other influential world leaders to stop and to do anything possible to stop this war. I cannot even call this a war, because war has rules. There are some kind of agreement between the sides and parties. There's negotiations are happening that people are trying to find out some kind of a middle part or something that is working, and that, and in Geneva, at Geneva Convention in 1964, there was created a modern international humanitarian law that includes rules. For example, humanitarian law is saying to protect those who are not fighting, such as civilians and medical personnel or aid workers. A Russian Federation army is not following this law. They directly and deliberately destroying buildings, hospitals, schools, and civilians, killing anybody, including children. This is not a war. This is a genocide where they're wiping out a whole population and cities that have been standing there for 1,000 years, and they're wiping the history, the culture, and everything. Also, this law is talking about protecting those who are not able fighting anymore due to injuries, wounded soldiers or prisoners. Russian Federation Army is not following this law. They are killing their wounded soldiers. They are not sending them back. They carrying on incinerator, the crematorium, mobile crematorium. There's evidence of this. People have this. There's evidence, and we have this all recorded. Just Google or YouTube it. There's articles written about this since 2014, when Ukraine had Maidan and people went to fight against dictatorship. This is unprecedented. There's also specific regulations about weapons and what not to use against people, the civilians. For example, cluster weapons, or it's called Smerch. It's a very powerful artillery rockets that they incinerate everything around, and people in buildings have holes that just half of the building missing. It's a deliberate wipe out of the whole population of people, a nation. It's not a war. It's a genocide, Holocaust, whatever you call it, but it is not a war. And war criminals are leading this war. I'm calling to all the leaders, please stop this war. This is not fake news that I'm telling you. I'm not getting my information from the TV. I'm talking to live people, specifically who live in the war zone. My both elderly parents live in Mykolaiv city that is been, fighting right now. Many army soldiers coming to encircle the city to get to Odessa. And Mykolaiv has powerful forces that they hold them back. But they keep shelling the city, the citizens' homes, schools. Just today, school was bombed and people were hiding in a basement, and 4 people died in that bomb shelter. They destroyed hospitals, stores, anything. They destroy everything up there. Today was a day where my best friend buried her 14 years old daughter. The child was terminally ill, and about several days before the war began, about 20th of February, she was hospitalized from Voznesensk city in Mykolaiv regional hospital, where she was taking care of such a difficult illness she had. And when bombing was happening, doctors and all personnel, including patients, they had to go in a bomb shelter. But Nadia is the name of the girl. It wasn't possible to move her downstairs because she was all connected to the life-supporting systems. And the mother, Olga, my best friend, she was refusing to go in a basement. She stayed with her daughter. Yesterday, Nadia's heart stopped. And the family had to take her to home. And they were driving on a road from Mykolaiv to Voznesensk. It was not a road. There was no road. Everything is this exploded, and vehicles, military vehicles, were standing there like ghosts. And they, under the cover of God, they made it to their Voznesensk. And they could have been shot anytime, anywhere, because the order is given to soldiers to kill anything and anybody that is moving. That day, she went shopping for the funeral and looking for things. It happened that the market was open, where she found there was only one white dress, the same size that fit her daughter. Today was her funeral. Children in Ukraine are paying the highest price. There's already hundreds and coming up to 1,000 children are dead. This atrocity has to stop. It cannot continue anymore. You leaders, you knew about all of this. Probably in October, you knew before the war started. Everybody knew that Russia amassed its forces along the Ukrainian borders. Anything that could be done at that point to prevent 2.5 million people displaced as refugees from this country. It could have been prevented to save these cities, this culture, education, hospitals, all the infrastructure. You can put pressure. Every day, Ukrainians are doing heroic actions. My friend Olga, as a mother of this child, she did unprecedented things. She is a hero. She acted out as a hero. I'm calling you that right now it's time to do something heroic, to do something for humanity. It's not the time to sit at the table and have meetings, protocols, and procedures. This is time to do unprecedented things. I'm calling, please do anything to stop this bloodshed, this genocide, this wipe out of the nation that all of us watching, we all look at these things. We have connections, and people are in horror and shock. We are in disbelief, but this is happening. I know that Putin will not stop in Ukraine. There'll be more things. We're already having economic crisis coming up with gas, and more will be coming as well, hitting American market. I'm calling you. Stop this war.